Hello everyone, welcome back to a new video. I call this video Making Monsters Mad because it's essentially a sequel to my korok torturing video, which was very popular. Let's see if I can put a link on. And we're going to be torturing monsters instead with a little bit of a korok bonus. So stay watching and I'll see you soon. Okay, this first build I made, I called Box of Death Smiley Face, because who doesn't love big boxes with electrocuting prongs on the inside? This one was particularly hard to angle correctly, and it took me a few attempts to trap both the moblin and the bokoblin, whatever. And once it did activate, I found it was actually less damaging than I would have thought, and the hydrants didn't seem to affect the performance. And it also is really hard not to get shocked yourself, as I'm looking at my health right now. So I made this time-lapse because it lasts forever. I just turned this into a time-lapse, so anytime you feel pretty bad about yourself, just watch this and you tend to feel better. And it killed the blue bokoblin much faster than it killed the silver moblin. And pretty soon here, I'm going to switch to a time-lapse that will be insanely satisfying to anyone who has felt the pain of having a bokoblin thrown at you as you're trying to escape. So I switched the speed to 2x speed so you don't have to watch the whole thing. Also, either way, you don't have to watch this whole thing, so you can skip ahead. But I think it's just funny how I had to use an entire large zonite charge to keep this entire machine running. And there's actually some pretty cool things with this build that I thought were pretty creative, or really just kind of depressing. So after you turn off the machine and you inspect closer, you can collect the monster parts on the inside. You'll also see that there's metal weapons facing inward and hydrants on the top, so that you can see the pure destruction. Throughout this video, you'll see me deploying zonite devices, and that's really just because I'm not made of zonite. I do not have that much zonite. And the reason I already do have as much as I already have is because I did my duplication trick. I'm going to put it in the description and pin it on the screen. But I call this one the robot. And I can't think of any better description of it. But when I was building this, I realized one of the problems with it was that it was kind of unbalanced, meaning that it is really hard to steer, and it doesn't really get traction on the ground very well, so that it kind of falls. So I had to essentially use Ultra Hand to just drag it around, and then afterward it worked almost like a prong, and I attempted multiple times to get it to drive, but it just didn't follow the path it was going to, and it probably targeted the flying monsters. But once it does lock on an enemy, it is like much more powerful than the last one, and the beam emitters were extremely effective at destroying the monsters on the inside. And I also put this one in the intro because it was just the visible presentation. The moblins were killed almost instantly. And then I decided I wanted to go Aracuda fishing, or whatever you call them. And I just used Ultra Hand to pick them up and drag them around so that you can fish for flying monsters the easy way, by just picking up large devices and throwing it at them. And this box was pretty hard to build. I call this next one Spike Smush because naturally I'm using spikes to smush. And it's really hard to aim right, but when you do, it's really satisfying to watch them go tumbling. But if you do get it perfectly aimed, then it will send them flying down the mountain. This next one was the fun bonus I was talking about, involving the koroks. And I was originally planning to do this with monsters, but I decided against it because I really just wanted to see how far you could fling a monster, and it's really hard to lure a monster onto a bed of springs. So I built 12 springs all attached together to see how far you could launch him, and then built it into a catapult over a lake to just see how far you could fling that korok. And I've seen people use rockets, but rockets don't do it justice. You gotta see how far it can go without using a rocket. So I attached the pole and then I just grabbed all of them together, and then I had to make it sure the korok wouldn't fall off. So then I added a barrier, and I just let that korok fly. And I did it in slow motion, so you guys could just watch and make sure you spot the korok, because it's hard to watch in real time. So, but it was difficult to try and make sure all the springs happen at once, because you can only attach one thing to one object at one time. So we're going to see how this goes, and I'm just going to let you watch in a moment of silence. As time went on, I just felt like that wasn't satisfying. So I brought the korok back and decided, instead of launching him diagonally, I want to see how high I can make him go. So I'm just going to let you watch this next part. I'm doing this next one the only way I know how. Small and close spaces. Now this one is just purely hectic. It's just, I tried to create a spinning device of just explosions and bombs and just general craziness. So I essentially just auto-built a bunch of wheels and attached emitters and cannons and whatever I could think of that would cause mass destruction. And as you're about to see, it caused mass destruction to me as well. And it's already been causing mass destruction to me for a long time as I was testing this. But it also worked for the monsters too, so that also we have going for us. And eventually, it wasn't just the cannons and lasers that killed them, it was just being blown off the ship. Just from the explosion, like the cannons. Not even like the damage from the cannons, but the explosions from the cannons. And the water ended up just finishing them off, which it also ended up throwing me off, but I stopped filming before that happened. So there's that going. But this one, there's the only problem with it was that it's probably very infuriating for the monsters, as in making monsters mad. But it's also infuriating for me because I can't move it, and I can't even like lift it up to like move it because it'll shoot me before I can even like get to it. So the only way I can turn it off is by using a bow and shooting it. But by then it's just like I've already taken like 12 hearts damage. And there was like no way I could stop this video before anything like happened. So I just had to keep it running and just hoped I didn't die. And I eventually did die, but since I had my unlimited fairies, see video description for duplication trick, I turned out to be fine. This next one I truly intended for koroks, but I realized that I can make it just as powerful for monsters as well. And I just essentially grabbed a bunch of bomb bouquet from the Yiga schematic and attached a time bomb to set it off so that I could convince the monsters to stand next to it. And I used the Majora's Mask to get them to come near it. But I didn't realize it succeeded until after they started walking towards me. So I just waited until most of them got close enough for me to turn on the bomb. And it actually became a really great success. The only problem with it is I accidentally hit them with my multi-shot bow. And this next one warrants explanation, because you see, if you go on Google and search Children of the Forest, TOTK, you'll find that the Children of the Forest are the koroks. And what's every bane to every child in this universe? School. So therefore, I brought koroks to school. I brought the same korok I'd been destroying earlier all the way to the Atenos schoolhouse. That way, he could experience all 3 different korok expeditions he's been on. And I guess I could have built him a giant school bus, so you're just going to have to imagine he's riding a flying school bus. So this entire process of getting him to school was forever this bus ride kind of thing is going to make a great plug. So if you would love to see more of this content, or if you want to see our last video, the korok torturing, I'll put that in the description as well as the end screen. If you want to see this channel reach more people, or just help us reach more people, please consider liking and subscribing. It truly does help. Like, every subscriber counts now that we're still a small channel. And I think if you want to see more content about this, I know there's like a dingy bell thing. It matters apparently, so just click that. It does something. So that's just to make sure you don't miss anything new about this. If you just like this kind of like funny, just weird korok torturing, monster torturing, or if you just want to see more glitches that'll help you get through the game, please consider liking and subscribing.